Local government aid is a vital component of us funding our police department, paying our firefighters, and being able to invest in the quality of life things like parks and bike trails that allow us to attract new businesses and new residents.
In a city under 3,000, of which I'm very proud to lead, by the way, and we're happy to be amongst I think it's over 70% of Minnesota cities who are in that category. Every revenue item in our budget is small. To be fair, our tax base is small, and other opportunities for revenue are small. But we still have the same important duty to our citizens and the citizens of the broader state to provide public safety, fire services, sewer, roads, and water. We are still an important source of industry and employment and housing, and of course, recreation and tourism to the entire state. So we really need and rely on LGA as a critical and important revenue line to make sure that our property taxes can remain stable and we can remain competitive in an always changing economy. We are wholly a part of the state and need to benefit from that state aid to make sure that we remain resilient.
Basic services is what local government aid means to Moorhead. And we appreciate the partnership and need the continued partnership of the state of Minnesota to bring those basic services to our city.
In a rural city like Mountain Lake, 2/3 of our budget relies on LGA and property taxes. We don't have other strong sources of revenue to keep our operations functioning. And for us, we don't have the hotel or the tourism industry to help aid with other sources of revenue. So we're very reliant on our property taxes and LGA to source our revenue.
And it does need to be reliable. I mean, when there were concerns that we would see changes to LGA due to the state's deficit, that sends us into a bit of a spiral. We don't have the ability to raise revenue on behalf of the state. Our businesses and citizens still contribute to the sales tax, and we still, help to drive the economy, hopefully in the right direction. And so we need to see that LGA there to make sure that we can appropriately plan and respond in the future.
A lot, especially these rural communities, we're all in the same boat. COVID-19 has, when it comes to some of our small businesses, they're on the edge. Staples have been fortunate not to lose any of those bars and restaurants and the hotels in our community, but I know that they're on the edge. And without LGA, that means a tax increase, and that's a direct impact, to not just those businesses that were impacted by COVID, but the whole community.
But look at northern Minnesota, look at our tax base, look at our population base. We don't have that capability. That's why local government was formed in the first place. They give us the opportunity to live and work and provide for our families up here.
Cuts in LGA and failing to help aid businesses, help residents, it just only hurts people. We either have to cut services or raise property taxes, and it just adds a financial burden to property owners.
We would have few options but to make drastic cuts to our personnel operations if LGA is cut. This would include law enforcement, fire, code enforcement, public works, parks and recreation.
And so local government aid is absolutely essential to a community like Austin succeeding. And really the state of Minnesota without local government aid would be a much different and ultimately a much worse off place.
Local government aid provides us the opportunity to be competitive and to bring more residents and more taxpayers to the city of Moorhead and therefore to the state of Minnesota.
LGA is a critical piece of our ability as a city to operate. And without local government aid, we could not survive as a city. If local government aid would completely disappear, our city would be a former shell of itself.
As a city, we understand the difficulties of balancing a budget, doing more with less, dealing with a global pandemic and trying to satisfy everyone. We have taken hard looks at our budgets the past few years, and we're operating as efficiently and as possible, trying to provide excellent services without raising taxes. I humbly ask that LGA be distributed as planned in 2021 and keep restoring LGA in the future. It not only affects our city operations, but every single person living in Mountain Lake and other cities in Minnesota.
Local government aid is critical for my city of Moorhead and across the state. It's about fairness, and it's a big part of why I'm proud and happy to live in Minnesota.
As you work through this year's budgeting process, please remember the devastating impacts that reductions in LGA would have on cities like Worthington. Thank you.